Be seated. I'm sure you have all heard the expression photobombing. Photobombing is still very popular. It's basically this. Someone's about to take a picture of a family gathering, an event, and all of a sudden, someone out of nowhere puts their face into the picture, unannounced, and then when the picture comes back, there they see that someone had photobombed them. Photobombing is a good image of what John the Baptist is doing for us today. Amidst all of the decorations, amidst all of the festivals, amidst all of the music and celebration, John the Baptist comes to us, photobombs us, and says, Jesus is the reason for the season. Jesus is the one we are to prepare our hearts for, the coming of Christ. For every day is Christmas when our hearts find love. Jesus, through John the Baptist, says the words, make your path straight. Prepare a way for the Lord. Well, is John the Baptist photobombing us to say, clean up your house, get the tree up, get those presents, get the meal ready? No. John the Baptist is telling us that we are to make our path straight. We are to prepare our hearts, for that is where Christ is born, in our hearts. He was born once in Bethlehem. He is born in every one of us every time we say yes to His word. When we say yes to His love. Like Mary who said yes, we say yes to Jesus. Now, make the path straight. What does that mean? Well, here's a good image we all can relate to. Potholes. Everywhere you go, there's a pothole. And of course, we notice them in the springtime, especially with the cold winter. But they're there, and we all notice them, especially when we get surprised. Our car hits something. We thought it was just some water, but it was like a 2-foot deep pothole. Or speed bumps. People don't like speed bumps. I have no opinion, but I will educate you. You don't need to slow down and then go over the speed bump. Okay? I'll educate you. Those speed bumps are set for 40 kilometers an hour. So if you're going 40, it does nothing to your car. Just a little ubi, a useless or a useful bit of information. Everyone goes, drives up, stops, goes over. You can go 40. You're going 40, no damage. Okay? Take it from me. All right? So what are the potholes in life? Well, and the speed bumps in life? Well, there's a lot of potholes. I would say one of the big potholes today is I don't really care. I really don't care. I don't really care about you. I don't care. Apathy. It's a big pothole. That's not my problem. That's her problem. It's his problem. Not my business. Jesus is saying, it is your business. It is your problem. We as Christians are invited to fill up the potholes, whether it be grief, sadness, disappointment, whether it be the lack of common sense, the lack of kindness, politeness, people who are poor, hungry, forgotten, apathetic, the pothole of common sense or the lack thereof. Like, where did common sense go? We are invited, you and I, to make those paths straight, to fill up those potholes with His presence. The presence of Jesus. And so, if you remember anything from my sermon today, remember this little catchy line. We prepare by repair. We prepare by repair. We repair our own lives in order that we can reach out and prepare and repair the lives of those around us. Just like a child who calls out for its mother or father, it will turn its head very quickly to recognize a mother's call, a father's call. You and I are invited to turn our lives, our hearts, our heads in the direction of Jesus. For Jesus is the meaning of Christmas. Jesus is the reason for every season. It is Jesus and his word and his ways that will fill the potholes of our lives. It is Jesus' way, Jesus' truth that will make our path straight. Will there be detours? Most definitely. Will there be roads under construction? Most definitely. But I'll tell you now that when we follow the Lord's words, it never leads to a dead end. It never does. It's a highway to heaven. And there are a lot of streets that enter onto the highway. Kindness Avenue, Generosity Boulevard, Politeness Way, it goes on. But you and I are here to mend hearts, to prepare by repairing. Not only our lives, but those who are in our midst that need someone to listen to. That need someone to say, good morning, how's your day? Who need just someone to listen, to hear about everything they're complaining about. Those who are lonely, who never get a visit, never get a call, never get an email, a text. You and I are invited to embrace the Christ child in our midst. Our family and friends, our neighbors and strangers. We become fully human and fully alive when we cradle his word and his way. All of us live in some form of wilderness. There's no one in this sorry, I forgot where I was. You'll forgive me. There's no one in this church that isn't dealing with something. Or as I would say in court, there's no one in this courtroom that isn't suffering from some form of mental illness. Every one of us is struggling with some mental illness at different levels. Fear, depression, loneliness, anger, addiction. The list goes on. All of us. But amidst our wilderness, amidst all the reconstruction in our lives, amidst all the potholes, God photobombs us and says, hello, I'm here. Hello, I'm here in the hungry. Hello, I'm here in the homeless. Hello, I'm here in the neighbor. Hello, I'm here in that grandchild. My grandchildren are staying at our home this weekend, and I learned that 5 o'clock is a good time of the morning to get up. So I went downstairs today, and 3 of them, playing with them. I sat and said, Papa's going to have his coffee. And then the littlest one said, Papa, will you play with me? Hello? Papa, will you play with me? Jesus is saying, hello, I'm here. Embrace the Christ child in that grandchild. Embrace the Christ child in that neighbor. Embrace the Christ child in that person you work with. Wherever you work, whatever organization you work on, I encourage you that Christmas is about embracing the unexpected, the unwanted, the unloved. And so maybe the question we should be asking ourselves in our means of preparing to repair the potholes of life, what am I wrapping? What am I wrapping this Christmas? Where is my wrapping paper going? Who am I wrapping? What am I wrapping? Well, let me begin with a pun. Let us wrap our minds around this thought. You and I are God's messengers of his love. God is love. And so God longs to connect with us so that we can connect with one another. And we could show the path that is straight for others. Because you've heard this thousands of times. Oh, my kids don't bother anymore. They don't believe. They don't bother going. No, they don't get involved with. They need connection because they need to see in us that our faith makes a difference. They need to see in us that we're like a candle that says to the darkness, I beg to differ. I beg to differ, there's a better way than being rude. I beg to differ, there's a different way of being sarcastic. I beg to differ, there's a different way of being selfish. I beg to differ, there's a different way to being unkind. We are the difference. And God photobombs us every day, inviting us to repair the faces and the places and spaces of people's lives. You never know the difference you can make by just smiling at someone. In my 9-to-5 work, I have people come before me that are going through hell. And I just look over and I said, would you be so kind to introduce yourself to me? They've probably never been spoken that way. A little kindness. Can you tell me your name, sir? Nice to meet you, sir. What brings this gentleman to me? There's nothing going to get you in trouble when we're respectful, when we're kind. He must increase, we must decrease. We lift up Jesus, we lift up the faces and the spaces of people's lives when we wrap each other with kindness. We wrap each other with affirmation, encouragement, and reconciliation. We wrap each other when we do the right thing to do. People say, I don't want to get... Yes, you will, because it's the right thing to do. That person should be treated that way. It's the right thing to do. You should be holding that person's hand. They're elderly and they're not going to walk on that ice. Grab them before they fall. That's the right thing to do. Oh, I'm going to say, we have this all the time. People come up to us, I lost my loved one. I'll keep you in my prayers. You know what? That's lovely. But I'll keep you in my heart and I'll come to visit you. The worst thing you could say to me, if you ever need me, just call. Because they will never. You call. You visit. Because no one will turn you away. 40 years of priesthood, I've never had anyone turn me away for being kind. Turn me away from wrapping them in God's presence. So, repair. The only thing we need to remember is every time we reach out and wrap each other in a kind word, in a prayer, in a thoughtful gesture, we are cradling the Christ child. The Christ child. We carry him. Christ was born in an ordinary place. That is where we will embrace the Christ in one another. In the ordinary places. It's amazing how many times I go up the elevator at the court. I turn to the one I'm with and say, having a good day? Look at me like, you care? Yeah, I care. How's your day going? All it takes is a few breaths to say, good morning. How's your day? How are you doing? My friends, it's the right thing to do. That we carry Christ in the gift of each other. That we help others to look up and not to give up. So many people want to give up. I can't be bothered anymore. I can't handle this anymore. We need to be that embrace that says, no, look up. In the next week or two, we're going to hear stories about the angel coming to Mary. And Mary is described as looking up. And the angel says to her, do not be afraid. I'm here to bring you good news of great joy. Look up. Don't look in, look up. And the shepherds in the fields, they were invited to look up. And the angel said to them, come to Bethlehem. Great news, the king is born. And even the Magi, they looked up. And they were told that the Christ child will be born for them. My friends, help someone this week to look up and not to give up. Help them to look up and not to look in. Help them to realize that we are preparing for his kingdom by repairing it, by showing God's love in the unexpected moments of our lives. Think about this. Christ put on our uniform. Christ became human. He put on the uniform of humanity. He became a member of our team. He wants to play on our team. Why? Because he wants to show us what it means to be fully alive, what it means to truly be loved and to love others. And I used to teach the children in grade 2 at the school. God is always a surprise. I used to teach them that song, Surprise, Surprise. God is a surprise right before your eyes. He's baffling to the wise. Surprise, surprise. God is a surprise. Open up your eyes and see. I pray that this week you and I can prepare the way for the Lord by repairing the way, by repairing those who need to hear the good news that they are loved, that need to hear the good news that they have a special place in the community, that they are loved. The two greatest longings of a human being, this may shock you, not to be rich, not to be wealthy, to be loved and to belong. You have a community dinner here. Why do you think everyone comes here? They want to belong. It's not the food, with all due respect. It's not the food. They're lonely. They sit in their condos, their apartments. They're all by themselves. It's like my mother-in-law driving her to her dementia program on the weekends. She turns to me and says, I'm glad you're taking me there to meet all my friends because I'd sit at home all day and look at the wall. I need people. We need people. We need each other. We're on God's team. And so John the Baptist says, prepare a way for the Lord. Prepare by repair. We make the pathway straight. Not only for those we're working to repair, but we're also preparing a place for us, because when we favor others, God favors us. When we favor others, God favors us. So as we continue with the Eucharist now, I would encourage you all to be on the lookout for that photobomb this week. God is going to come and say, hello. And you're going to think, I couldn't be it. Yeah, God will come in that little moment in time where we're invited to prepare by repair, by giving someone the acknowledgement that they are loved and they belong. May Jesus Christ be praised. Amen. Amen.